Hello and welcome everybody. It's Sunday afternoon, evening, wherever it may be that you are. Welcome, of course, to the Misfits Racing League APAC Division for the first time on the YouTube channel. Joining me for APAC action, as always, is Seb. Seb, how are you doing this afternoon, my friend?
Brilliant, as always, Unicorn. How are you yourself?
Yeah, very, very good. Very excited to be back here in Italy. We had Spain last night for the Endurance Series, which was a very dramatic race, which ended in a huge safety car restart, which added some really late-minute drama. Fingers crossed we get just half the drama that race provided, because that was absolutely incredible. But my oh my, we're in for a treat here. The Temple of Speed so far has provided such a great run of action this week. We have obviously got the 11-turn Italian Grand Prix track, 2 DRS zones, the 3 chicanes. It just is a joy to watch the cars go around here. Let's have a quick look at the standings here in APAC before we get into the qualifying session. Ben the Bear sits atop the standings still by now 40 points clear of his championship rival Mikkel. 283 for the Mercedes driver and 243 for Mikkel. Captain the Gold and the other Mercedes 150 points, which is helping the Mercedes team absolutely run away with the constructors standings right now in this division. Remco Van Putten sits in 4th place, 119 points to his name. Then we go down to the midfield battle. Trin currently leading that, 66 points for the Alfa Romeo driver. Panda just 2 points behind him on 64 in the Williams. Emzo leads the McLarens with 56 points in 7th. Combined YouTuber on 50. Cello and the other McLaren 49 points, and an Eccentric just 8 points behind him. Back for the first time in a while, Stars in the AlphaTauri. He's missed the last 3 races, but he's back here this evening, helping his teammate Mikkel try and close that gap to Mercedes as keep them ahead of Red Bull as well. And we have the 2 Hasses, T-Mac and Shrimp in 12th and 13th. Sid in 14th in the Renault. He hasn't been here for too long, but he's been impressing so far in that pace. And Rez as well in that Red Bull. He's had a pretty strong start to the season. But with that being said, we are just getting loaded in here to the short qualifying session. And qualifying around here has been very close this week. It's a very fast circuit. Seb, any predictions coming into the qualifying session?
Oh, well, I'll sound like a broken record, but Ben the Bear seems like a pretty hot take at the moment. He is the man. He is on fire at the moment, molten hot. He's been absolutely slamming down wins in front of this APAC field, so I don't think you can look past him, can you?
No, absolutely not. He is just absolutely incredible in his run of form. We saw at the start of the season he had a lot of issues, that sort of plagued him last season as a little bit as well, with connection issues. My mind wanders back to Bahrain, where we just saw him get absolutely wiped out for no fault of his own by just a very desynced car. And now we'll see, what happens here. But since then, it just seems to have been, it's just been win after win for the Thai driver, and no one's been able to stop him as 4 cars come out of the garage in perfect synchronization, pretty much.
Look at the Force Indias, sorry, the racing points as well. See, I still haven't got used to that. But yeah, just a weather report, dry for both sessions, but at the end of the race, if there's a safety car, we might see the chance of a little bit of rain, Unicorn.
Well, rain here in Monza, we've seen that this week, Tier 3. It does, impact it a little bit, obviously not quite as fast as it would be in the dry. And, well, here we go. We've got Emzo. He's first out of the pit lane ahead of his teammate. One of the racing points is making pretty good ground, already overtaking a few of the other drivers. Both of them are as well slipstream as well. We've got to bear that in mind. We've seen it a couple of times this week, including from the McLarens in Tier 1. So we'll see whether the McLarens are thinking to do a similar thing here. But Emzo, he's putting quite the gap between him and his teammate. So we'll see whether we see any team dynamics here as he comes down towards the Ascari chicane. Of course, named after Alberto Ascari, the Ferrari test driver who sadly lost his life here in 1955 in a private testing for Ferrari, 2-time world champion.
Courtesy of Stars, that one. He may not be necessarily delivering on track, but he is certainly delivering in the stats department.
Yeah, he's been fueling the stats run. Pretty much starting here in Monza, but he loves a good statistic. Emzo now. Let's see whether he can do anything to add to a statistics list in terms of qualifying. He starts the first flying lap of the session, getting past combined YouTuber there in the run. Down to turn 1, the Retafilio chicane, turn 2 as well. Nicely done through there. A little bit shaky on the exit, pointing in slightly the wrong direction, but he gets it sorted, comes now through the Curva Grande, this flat-out right-hander. You've got Stars there in front of him, getting off to the side as he comes down towards the Rogier chicane. Into the first corner, through the second, a little bit of bump on the middle, but there you go, perfectly done. Just uses all of the exit curving without getting in the gravel, then through into the first of the 2 Lesmos. No problems through there. The second one now, not quite using all of the inside curbing, but utilizes the outside curbing nearly perfectly. Now, this huge DRS run down into the Ascari chicane. Let's see how he executes this one. This one, probably the trickiest portion of the track. So easy to slip up through on the exit. He doesn't do it, though. He's got through there. Problem 3, and now down towards the Parabolica curve. It's the final corner on this track. Again, this huge, just swinging right-hander. It's not called the Temple of Speed for no reason. It's keeping it pinned all the way through here. Tight right to the exit. Now to the line, keeping it hugging that pit wall. And there we go, 118.663 to open up qualifying. I think it's his teammate behind, Cello, who invalidated his run, so he won't set a lap time. Ben the Bear, a 119.2 on medium. Sand Easy, a 118.3. Simdogger reserving in the other racing point, a 119.2 as the times start to fly in. I think Captain of Gold now to the line, a 118.2 sets the fastest lap of the session.
Yes, good times out on the board. Emzo's lap was very nice and neat, but wasn't necessarily fast compared to the other runners, but his lines throughout each corner, notably Ascari, Della Roggia chicane, and the first chicane of the Retafilio were very, very good. So if you can work on that and just find some more speed through the corners, I reckon he could put together a very, very solid qualifying.
Yeah, Mikhail slots himself into P4, a 118.7. Matt on 119.4. A couple of other drivers there struggling with invalidations. Let's see what Stars could do. Well, he invalidates 2 coming into the Ascari chicane. And he struggles on the exit as well, just a little bit wide there. Sid in the Renault, he's flying right now, coming through out of the Retafilio chicane. At the start of the lap, we'll hang on board with him for a little while, see what he can put down, provided he gets through invalidation free. It's already been a little bit of a problem here, Seb, and that usually indicates that we might see a few penalties start to crop up in the race.
Yeah, you don't normally get them, but if you just lose a little bit of concentration, they can pile on quickly. We did take a lot of that inside curving for turn 4, the Della Roggia chicane, but didn't get invalidated, so very interesting.
Sid just had a big slide coming out of the second Lesmo. Not too bad, and for a banker lap, I shouldn't think it'll impact him too badly, but that will.
Ooh.
A huge snap coming out of the Ascari chicane. We mentioned it before at how it might cause problems, but he's still actually on this lap, and it's still valid as well, but the time will not be that impressive, I don't think, as he runs very wide, and there it is, an invalidation through Parabolica. Sees him straight into the pit lane.
You don't normally see people taking the inside curbing of Ascari for turn 10. That's the last part of Ascari. You don't really see that unless they're on maybe medium traction control or a more conservative setup. You don't really see it, but unless you have all the skill in the world, then it's very tough to take it without losing the rear end.
Yeah, someone we've not seen this season reserving in the Ferrari, Big Al right now. Currently 15th on the timing tower. He's coming through. Apparently good to track map. Fastest sector 1 we've seen so far today. Let's see what he's got around the rest of the Temple of Speed. The 93 on the Ferrari. Coming through into the second Lesmos now. So far so good for him. He's just nailed that exit there. You see him. It looked like he was going to open up into the similar slide that we saw Sid have, but it's not the case. He just absolutely nailed it. So he might have a very, very nice setup around here. And setups are very important as it's a little bit of a lock-up going into this Ascari chicane. You heard the tyres screech a little bit, but it hasn't seemed to have slowed him down as he flies down towards Parabolica now to round out his first flying lap of the session.
That was a quick driver. He could put some good times in that could unsettle this field here.
Well, there it is. P3, a 118.629, just ahead of Rez. We get to see Ben out on softs. He's currently just rounding out a medium run.
I believe Stars is about to start a lap. He's rounding off Parabolica. Yeah, that would be correct in saying that.
Yeah, Remco Van Putten, he's flying right now in the Red Bull. He invalidated his first run. Similarly to Stars, so we'll see what he could do. The Dutchman, sort of the outlier in this grid, but oh, there it is, another invalidation just on the entrance to Ascari. Stars, like you said, he's just started to fly down into the Rettifilio chicane. He comes, and no problems through there.
Just want to keep a tight line through Curva Grande. Just save time, save how much track you cover throughout a lap. Braking just at 100 meters board. He's missed the apex for turn 4, and that's kind of compromised his run out of turn 5. See how he takes the first Lesmo, just about bang on. He could have used about a bit more of that exit curbing, which means he hasn't. Oh, that's a bit of a snap right there, Unicorn. Losing a bit of traction on the exit of the corner, asking too much of the rear tyres. On the run down to Ascari now. He's going to hover over this left-hand side curb. He takes too much, and that's going to invalidate the run.
Yeah, he's missed a few races, so his form right now not quite where he'd want it to be. But the fact that he's here, there's 16 drivers right now on this grid. So plenty of opportunity to score points. You just need to get in that valid flying lap. Speaking of flying laps, Captain of Gold, he's on for a slight improvement on his current provisional pole time. The Mercedes currently sitting on the top spot. Is he warming it for his teammate though? Because Ben the Bear, we've yet to see him come out on the soft wall. As I said, there he is, hopping out into turn 1. Captain of Gold still up, but just by a whisker as he comes out of a Ascari chicane. Again, no problems for him, so he's got that one nailed down, it would seem, here in qualifying. Sandeezy, he's flying as well. I think he might have just crossed to finish out his flying lap. I don't think there was any improvement there from the racing point, and he's come out just in front of his teammate Simdogger, only reserving, but could we see some teamwork there? There goes Captain of Gold, improving by exactly 1/10 to make it a 118.1.
Yeah, oh, nice lap by Sid. He's jumped up into P2 in front of Sandeezy, just behind Captain of Gold by nearly a 10th. But yeah, Sandeezy's lap was ruined at the exit of Ascari, just taking too much inside curb and nearly losing the car into the wall, and that might have put off Mick out because at the exit of Parabolica he stamped down that loud pedal too hard and nearly lost it as well.
Yeah, a couple of improvements from the Alfa Romeo squad. Matt, he went to a 119.1, and Trent as well set his first time a 118.670, just 7 thousandths off of Emzo's time, and Emzo currently flying in the McLaren. Ben the Bear, he's just started a flyer as well, so I'll hop aboard with him in a moment as well. But is the McLaren going to get a tow off of his teammate? It looks like he will. He might just be a little bit far off here, and if he gets the Ascari right, this is going to be a problem because I don't think he's going to get a tow out of the corner that he might have wanted. Oh, that's a big slide into the gravel trap. He should be okay. He's not out of the session.
Got to be careful. He's got to make sure he's moving and not actually getting in the way of compares at the same time. He should be able to be fine once Trin passes, and he is. I thought that was a bit weird from Cello. I don't understand why you wouldn't get out the way.
I think they mistimed the run.
Yeah, I don't understand why you wouldn't get out of the way just before Ascari or from Ascari to Parabolica. It's just following a car through Ascari is a rather difficult task, and when you're trying to nail in a lap, it can kind of put you off.
Well, I think we might see our first 117 here. The tie driver, Ben the Bear. You said it yourself, definite favourite coming into qualifying. Let's see what he can do. Prove us right. Here he comes out of Parabolica to the line now. Where's it going to be? There it is, a 117.759. 4/10 clear of his teammate, Captain of Gold, and he'll be happy with that one to stick himself at the top of the timing tower for the time being.
I do believe that is 3/10 off of Revo's lap record here, which is 17.434. Closest to that it was Chenjay and Gauzy's GP, but that's before the this weekend started for MRL racing in Italy.
Remco slotted himself into P2 as well. He's finally got a valid time on the water, 118 flat, so he'll be happy with that one, P2. Big Al, he's coming back out on a flyer, and we'll see whether Ferrari can slot himself, because he's done very well so far. 118.6 currently. I think we could see some improvement here from him as he flies down towards the sky. He's up by a 10th. Then alone.
Oh,
isn't
deep.
good enough. And in violation there through Ascari. He will not be happy with that one.
Yeah, way too aggressive into Ascari. You know, at least turn 8. Just threw the car in a bit too much and maybe a bit too late as well, and that's just compromised the exit of turn 8 and sent him wide.
Stars right now will set his first flying lap of the session, and it's a 118.494. That's a bit more like it. Just 0.2 or so, or 1.5 off of his teammate, who's just started a flyer ahead of him, I think, or maybe just ended one, actually. I think he just ended one, so maybe a little bit of a tow there between the AlphaTauris.
Potentially. It's a good lap from start. He's finally got one. Yeah, I didn't see it either. It looks like they just followed each other and did a lap at the same time, but nice lap by Stars. He finally gets something on the board. That's looking good. Big from the horse, as I like to call him.
Remco Van Putten, he's called it quits in the pit lane. He is done and dusted with this session, and I think he's used all of his tyres, so it's a little bit surprising to see someone call it quit this early, but I think he's used his tyres.
I think that's a bit of a blunder, to be honest with you. You normally get about 10th out of track evolution in the next 3 minutes, so yeah, that's interesting. Like you said, probably run out of tyres, so yeah, that's poor tyre management, I guess you could say.
Well, here goes the McLarens, and the tow working much more successfully than now, and it's exactly what we saw the Tier 1 McLaren squad do. That being the Dutch duo of Ace Ritchie and Neon. And that's secured them some strong times, and well, Ace Ritchie converted that to a win. Cello now, we'll see what he can do with this tow. The tow's gone well for him. There's an Alfa Romeo there parked at the side. He's going to try and take a little bit of a tow off of Matt. He's actually down on his previous best, but let's see what he can do through here. The Ascari chicane, that's where the last problem we saw for the McLaren squad was, as he comes out of it. No problems, though, this time around. Down towards Parabolica. Where can he slot himself? On the power. Not quite full throttle as early as he'd probably like to be, but he's got it done. He hasn't had any problems, and that's more important. But it's not an improvement for him. And I'll drop down.
It's interesting where to pick the toe here, where you want it. You prefer it to be on Curva Grande or that run down to Parabolica. But normally, personally, if I was receiving the toe, I'd like it down to Parabolica, just because the Parabolica allows a bit of room for error, and since you're carrying that bit of extra speed than you may be normally used to, you can kind of adjust for that throughout the corner.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation as well, because you want to be able to give your a lot of the time they want to follow their teammate to get them a tow in return on the next lap. Then the Bears dropped his lap, Sid invalidated his lap. Let's go back on board with Emzo then, the McLaren squad.
Yeah, he's about to get a one from Cello here. Hopefully they can do this better than they did last time.
Well, right now it's looking to shape up history to repeat itself.
He's a bit further ahead though, so this could be a very good run down to Parabolica. This is the ideal way to do it.
Oh, it's very close coming out of the sky though.
Yeah, timed beautifully. That's how you want it. Because that way you get that run down. Now watch, he'll carry that bit of extra speed, he can kind of adjust for it. Still clips the inside curb, and just being probably a bit mindful of it. It hooks over to the right. It should be a decent time. It is. But it doesn't improve. He's still three hundredths off of Sandeezy.
Well, he got himself closer. But a strong time from him. Captain of Gold, he's invalidated his lap. Ben the Bear. I don't know if we're going to see him go again here. We might. And we will. So here he comes with that 129.2. He'll want to forget in a hurry, but let's see what he can do. It's a 117.7, the gauntlet he's set down for himself. Currently 3/10 faster than Remco Van Putten, who's not a threat anymore, given that he early retired from this one. Rez, the other Red Bull, he's retired from the session as well, again in the pit lane. So both Red Bulls getting done and dusted here quickly in qualifying. Then just up on his time as he comes into the Rogier chicane. Now into the first Lesmos. Nice and tidy through there for him. And again, the same can be true for the second Lesmos. Now down all the way into Ascari. He's still just up on his time. Too aggressive to Ascari and just invalidates it on the outside.
Yeah, he just got like caught up on that inside curve of turn 9. That's that right-hander of Ascari, and that kind of washed him out. And that meant he didn't have as wide of an approach to turn 10, and when he tried to take that inside curve, that just understeered him all the way off the track.
Mikau, he just found half a tenth to put himself into 6th ahead of Sandeezy. We'll see whether he can find a way. I think Big L just crashed out of Ascari. Because there's a Ferrari stationary there, maybe. Oh. Well, Sandeezy hops himself into P3 at 118.1.
It's a good showing from him, isn't it? Captain of Gold's on a lap right now. I believe he was a 10th up into the first sector. I didn't quite get to see what his second sector split was. He's just got the parabolic to go now.
Well, thankfully, Big Al, he wasn't the one who crashed. He retired in the pit lane. Combined YouTuber who crashed, and he's not out of it. Captain of Gold qualified second, P2 for him. So that's Mercedes 1-2. And there we have it. The results are in. Ben the Bear qualifies once more for pole position. His teammate locks out the front row with him, a 118 flat from Captain of Gold. That's very satisfying to look at, but Remco Van Putten starts behind them in the Red Bull. Splitting the two Red Bulls is Sandeezy in the Racing Point in 4th place. Rez starts 5th. Sid, he starts 6th ahead of Trin in 7th. Mikau in 8th, just 1 place ahead of his teammate in the AlphaTauri. It's Stars coming back from a few weeks off. Emzo in the McLaren qualifies just ahead of his teammate Cello. So the McLarens and the AlphaTauri seem to be locked in a little bit of combat here at a temple of speed. And we'll go through the rest of this grid in just a moment when we get into the formation lap. But a big shout out to everyone watching at home. This is MRL APAC Division, the last full league race of the week here to round out our week of action. So big shout out to everyone watching here on YouTube for the first time. And of course, a big shout out to our partners of, well, Next Level Racing. If you're looking for a sim racing rig, cockpit, wheel stand, flight sim equipment, anything like that, be sure to check them out in the link in the description below on their website. They're doing great things for the sim racing community. So we'd be really thankful if you went and had a look there. But Seb, here we are. Just loading in. Everyone's getting things dialed in. We've got a lot of teammates together. A lot of potential for double stacking if a safety car came out. What do you think sort of is going through your mind if you're one of these teams with that sort of, you know, close proximity on the grid here?
One thing is keeping a nice DRS train going. That's one thing. You got to also talk to each other and sort out how you're going to work out the pit stops here. I believe undercut is slightly better than staying at that lap extra, but these tires can last very long, and then there's no real issue when it comes to tire wear around here. But yeah, you got to work with your teammate, and you can't fight too much, because once you start squabbling, it allows drivers behind to get a good run on you, and that can really jumble up an order and stuff like that.
Absolutely, and you've got to remember as well the DRS trainer potential around here, and you can see it in the tyre choice as well, is absolutely crucial. Most people here on the soft tyres, even outside of the top 10, we've only got 3 runners on the mediums, and I imagine that's because they don't want to get left alone at the start and fall back early on when the pit stops start to come in. And we do have Matt, T-Mac, and Combined there, all on the medium combat tyre. Everyone else is on the soft. So once again, it's Ben the Bear and Captain of Gold, the two Mercedes, locking out the front row. Remco Van Putten in 3rd. Sandeezy in 4th, Rez in 5th, Sid 6th, Trin 7th, Mikau and Stars, the 2 AlphaTauris in 8th and 9th, the 2 McLarens behind them, Emzo and Cello in 10th and 11th respectively. Big Al reserving, he starts 12th, Matt in 13th, Simdogger reserving for Racing Point in 14th, T-Mac 15th, and Combined YouTuber starts in 16th position. Again,
It'd be interesting to see how pit stops work. Sorry, it's interesting to see how pit stops work, just with how they will jumble up the field and, like you said, DRS trains that can tend to break some up and create some little new ones. But yeah.
Well, here we go. Ben the Bear, he's sort of left everyone alone at the start, and that might lead him to have a little bit lower tire temps than he might like when he gets away at this grid, because well, he's going to be sitting here for quite some time. The rest of the grid fairly bunched up, and I imagine that's going to be something that we see throughout the rest of this race. But ladies and gentlemen, we're just about to get going here around Monza. Not quite for the final time, but at the final time this week in the F1 cars. F2, of course, this evening, but here we go. Lining up on the grid. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights here on in Italy. And away we go then for Monza in the APAC Division. And Remco Van Putten seems to have got a fairly nice start in comparison to Captain de Gold. Down now towards Mikau. He's already up 2 places ahead of a couple of the drivers here, but you got Trin there looking up the inside, trying to squeeze his way through the middle. Sandeezy's around. There's an end plate flying off. I think it's the right-hand side of that Racing Point. Mikau finds yet another place. Stars is going to follow him through past Reds. Trin, Sandeezy, Trin barging his way through this grid, trying to find some positions as well. He hasn't lost any yet, but he's looking to gain some around the outside, going down into the chicane. Sandeezy up the inside of Stars. That's a risky maneuver. It doesn't work out for him. Captain of Gold leads his teammate at the end of lap 1. We've got a yellow flag further down. Seems to have cleared pretty quickly though. But Captain of Gold leading his teammate already. Remco Van Putten, he is held on to 3rd. Mikau and Stars, the 2 AlphaTauris, are up 4 places from where they started this race. Sandeezy, he right now is the break in the train. And he might just be the break in the DRS once that gets enabled as well. He's currently in it at the moment, but he's got a lot of pressure from behind. Trin in an Alfa Romeo all over him. Sid as well, all over the Red Bull behind them. And Seb, we've got a lot on our hands right now.
Remco's got broken front wing. I think he had contact with Sandeezy. That's why we saw Sandeezy go a bit round. It's going to Mikau and Stars need to get by him very fast if they want any chance of catching up to these Super Stage. Could very much run away with it as Mikau does now. Mikau got an absolute launch from the start. Sitting, what was he, P7? Yet jumped 2 places up to P5. And then that contact between Remco and Sandeezy just allowed him and his teammate to get through.
Trin, he just tried making it 3 wide down into the Rettifilo chicane. It hasn't worked quite out for all of them. And Stars drops now. It's not working out for him. He's lost the position not only to the Racing Point, but now, of course, the Alfa Romeo as well. Matt, he calls it quits already in the other Alfa Romeo. Where is Stars? He's not going to be able to get the move done. Remco, Mikau, they exchange. Remco Van Putten back past the Australian. And now Sandeezy looking around the outside of the first Lesmo. He doesn't quite get it done there in the Racing Point. Can he get it done through the second Lesmos as the Mercedes, Seb, are just running away with it at the front? This is what we're on about. The constant fighting does not do anyone any favors other than those ahead of the battle. And now look at this. They're all running down into the Ascari chicane. They're looking for the positions. They're not finding them. And that's what slows you down. And look at this DRS train that we're going to get.
Exactly. Remco's has held up Mikau so much. That battling has really cost them. That's 3.5 seconds. 2 seconds in the space of 1 lap. That's how much it's cost him. I saw Mikau going off the track at Della Roggia through turn 5, cutting that completely and just cutting across Sandeezy, nearly possibly taking him out, but I didn't get a good look at that. Now we're going to have a good fight into turn 1 up.
Absolutely. Although Remco, despite that front wing problem, still finding a fair amount of time to, you know, defend down into turn 1. DRS now enabled, and the timing tower has sorted itself out as well. There was some rather large times that weren't representative of the gap we were seeing on track, but right now Remco, that broken front wing, is doing the Mercedes a huge favor because he's a brilliant defensive driver. And there's an end plate flying. Who was that?
Sandeezy.
Oh, the Red Bull of race. He's off into the grass, and he lets pass not just Cello but Sid as well. Seb, you were talking about Sandeezy there.
Yeah, he's just lost his front wing on the back of Mikau. I was just going to say Stars' pit, but look at Combined and T-Mac right now. They're just sitting on the back of this train. If they can hold that and stay within DRS range, there's a good chance they could be in for some good points at the end of this race if there's a late safety.
Well, Rez gets back past Sid, who has a damaged front wing. We're going to see an exchange between Trin and Sandeezy. Front wing damage now, causing a few people problems, but it's not causing Remco any problems, apart from the time he's losing to the cars ahead of him. But right now, he's not losing any positions, so not too bad for him. Let's see if he can hold off now, because Mikau, this seems to be the run for the Australian. Down around the outside, gunning it towards turn 1. He's just ahead, but Remco's still there at the inside. He's going to try it into turn 1. Doesn't find it, doesn't have the traction through turn 2. Let's have a look behind them. Nothing doing for anyone else either. And now Mikau, he can start to run away with it, but he can only start to run away with P3 because the Mercedes, they're too far gone, I think, Seb.
Yeah, they definitely are. He needs them to squabble a bit, but they work together extremely well. Great teammates together.
Yeah, I think they know the importance of the teamwork here, and at Monza especially, it's so crucial to sort of have that team dynamic going, because it really can offer up a lot of time and a lot of positions as well. But right now, 1 and 2 for them. They've held on to it since the start of this race. An exchange between the pair of them, but nothing else. Cello quite close to the rear of Sandeezy. Let's have a look. Is this McLaren damage? Because the racing point ahead is... He's not, so that's a good advantage for the McLaren to have. He's using a lot of ERS, though, coming out of Ascari. And we are seeing a wonderful train here in Monza form. That does make it quite difficult to exchange positions, though, because the driver ahead should have DRS, but Sandeezy, he's at risk of dropping down. It looks like the two Mercedes, they have exchanged, and it's now Ben the Bear's turn to push forward, punch a hole in the air, as it were, for his teammate now. Although both of them reserving ERS quite nicely for if and when they do get attacked by Mikau, who has gained a lot of positions in this race. He's up 5 right now. Quick look at the penalties, just 2-3 seconds, but nothing else there.
Yeah, like I said, he had a great start, and he is slowly gaining. I think that might be why Captain of Gold has not put up too much of a fight to Ben the Bear. Playing the team game, playing the long game. Mikau dropped about 8/10 off of these two in the space of a lap, so making some good grounds right now. That clear air's helping a lot.
This could be the run Cello's been looking for out of the second Lesmos. Here he goes around the outside, down towards Ascari. And he has picked off that racing point. Very nicely done there for him. Rez behind 2. I think that this Red Bull is damage free. He is, at least visibly. And we'll see if he can use that to chase down the racing point. Sid, he picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. We'll see how that impacts his race. We said it in qualifying that those invalidations we were seeing didn't bode well for the race. You can see there Big Al looking to get past the McLaren of Enzo, but it's the Red Bull on the racing point, late on the brakes for Reyes around the outside of turn 1, looking to take it through turn 2. Doesn't find it. And Big Al didn't find it either on Enzo for 10th place. So interestingly enough there.
Great defense by Sandeezy. Just squeezed Rez onto that big sausage curve of turn 2. But DeFilio chicane just meant he couldn't get a good run on him and couldn't get a good exit out of the corner.
Yeah, the damage here on the front wings of a few of these drivers is really hurting them, I think. So
you can see it's also split up some DRS trains now. We had that big one for about 2 laps, and then a couple of damaged front wings, and it's just split up. You can see 5th, 6th, and 7th all have that 1 second gap to the car in front, although that's kind of flirting with 0.9 for Cello to Trin.
Trin doesn't actually have damage. He's just dropping back to Remco, and I think Remco, he doesn't really need to, do too much here. He just needs to stay within Mikkel's DRS range, and I think he knows that. He knows that front wing damage was hindering him, and now that Mikkel's passed, I think he just wants to sit there, stay comfortable, stay within DRS, and when he does get a new front wing, he'll be firing on all cylinders once more. Down towards turn 1 then for the racers in the midfield. Rez again looking for it up the inside, doesn't find anything there.
This is interesting. You're looking at the Mercedes. They both have 70% ERS. Mick out 35, half of what they have. He was gaining a bit over the last lap, but he just kind of lost that out of the first two corners.
Hey, he's not gaining too much time, and like you said, the ERS difference there. He's losing a bit more time now as well, so...
He just went wide at the turn 5 of the De La Roggia chicane, and I don't know, Remco putting a bit of pressure on him, even with that broken front wing.
Well, like I said, Remco just wants that DRS. He knows he's got a problem here in that broken front wing, so as long as he can cling on to the DRS race, he doesn't really care. Sandeezy, he drops to Rez down into Ascari. That front wing finally being the end. Who is that? It's Trin ahead of them. Getting rejoined. He's spun out of Ascari. No damage on the Alfa Romeo. But I wonder what his tyre situation is looking like now. How hot are they? Will he come into the pit lane to replace them? We'll have to wait and see. It's not too far off of the time. And there goes Sandeezy into the pits, it looks like. It is Sandeezy. Trin in as well. So we got our first couple of drivers coming off at the slots. Just a couple of laps early. I think we're more likely to see the pit window open in about a lap or so. Now, Beam T-Mac around the outside of turn 1 on combined Jujubet. Again, we're seeing that move not quite successful. So...
yeah, you need to have very good leverage around turn 1 just to get yourself in a good position to hinder the run of the outside car for turn 2. So if you don't get that good leverage, then you can't really fight into turn 2, and that just ruins your run out of there, and you can't fight all the way down to the De La Roggia chicane.
Absolutely. We've still got a few trains left here, but I think the pit window now is going to cause some problems and break things up even more and potentially throw a few people down into the order. We'll see what the Mercedes squad decides to do. One of them is either going to have to undercut or overcut. Remco Van Putten, he's got past Mikkel. Mikkel's off! Mikkel spun it out of Ascari. That AlphaTauri is dropping. He has to let everyone by. And it's down to 11th place for him.
It's got to be that inside curve. Can't think of any other way he's dropped that. We've got a lot of cars pitting now as well.
What? Sidden, I think that's Al there in that Ferrari ahead of him.
Well, Rez pulled up very hard into the pit lane, being very cautious, and Sid got caught behind. That just allowed Al through, I think, but Al's going to replace his front wing, so I think Sid's going to regain that pressure anyway. Oh, okay. It's going to be interesting.
Where's the Ferrari? There he is. There's Mick coming into the pit lane as well. I think a few of them there maybe just sort of coming into the pit lane because they realize it's sort of the pit window and the off chance that there was a VSC spawned from that incident. Maybe just sort of hedging their bets.
Yeah, smart decision, but unluckily it didn't pay off. I'd like to see Captain of Gold maybe go for an undercut here. He has been doing well to keep up with Ben the Bear, and they've kept the same amount of ERS at the same time, so it's pretty interesting at the moment, but we'll see how this pans out over the course of the next 5-10 laps.
Well, they got to be careful. They might get broken up because of the pit window. They can't pit at the same time, of course, being teammates. So they've got to work this one.
Anyway.
Well, there you go. Captain in for the undercut on Ben, in the hopes that I think that Ben may be the faster of the two drivers. I think they both acknowledge that fact, and he'll push so that the undercut works the captain and maybe puts them back within 1 second of one another.
Ben's pushing hard. You can see he's just using that ERS.
Well, his main championship rival in Mikkel. Mikkel has always talked about, as T-Mac and combined, they exchanged down into someone. Mikkel has always talked about he needs to take advantage of when Ben makes mistakes. We don't usually see it the other way around. Ben taking advantage of Mikkel's mistakes. Oh, well, this is an opportunity for Ben to really extend that lead even further at the top of the standings.
It's also interesting to see how this plays into Captain Gold's hand as we near the end of the season, obviously over past the halfway mark, but we're not really at that, third of the races to go. But, we've still got a fair bit to go. Let's see how Captain Gold can shape up this second place fight at the championship.
I want to say we've got about 7 races left, so if Captain of Gold can score, P2 or even a win here today, it would be wonders and really could ramp him up in that fight for P2. He did miss a few races earlier on in the season, but again, we've seen Mick out of the points a couple of times, so still possible. Ben the Bear, of course, into the pits. Remco is staying out, and he's got no battery left in that Red Bull. And given the fact that he is on 10 lap-old softs with a broken front wing, what on earth is his plan in that
Praying
Red Bull?
for a safety car. He has to be praying for a safety car. If he gets a safety car, that's the easiest way to null that front wing damage that he has and just get a new wing. He might not be too confident in the mediums, although the mediums are a pretty good race tyre. Captain of the Gold has not pipped Ben the Bear from the pits. So Ben the Bear's out in lap was good enough to pip Captain of the Gold's out lap.
Yeah, but look at the timing. Look at it's perfect. They're right behind one another again. It's exactly what they wanted. And now their closest rival is Cello, 7.8 seconds behind them. Ahead of them, the traffic 4.7 seconds away. And it'll be a few laps until we see them into the pit lane. So I shouldn't imagine that we'll be seeing them cause any problems. It's Sid around the outside of the Curva Grande, looking for it on the inside, and he gets it down into the Rocher chicane on Trin. Nice move from the Renault. A nice little battle we've got forming for what is now the final point scoring positions, but could be just the lower points on the end of things. Oh, there goes Trin, a big slide out of the second Lesmos. And you've got to say, Simdogger did well to avoid that one, as did Mikau. Well, that could have ended very, very poorly for the Racing Point.
I don't think he's having a good run of it, is he, Trent? Just dropped it. The hard tyres are not great race tyres. As you see, he's just weaving, trying to get something in those tyres, but very hard to get under. And when you lose the rear end in with these tyres, it tends to go very quickly.
Well, Remco's come into the pits now, and he's going to drop quite substantially. He's behind his teammate, and he's going to come out fighting with Emzo for P7. And he's just ahead right now of that McLaren, and I think he will just about be able to squeeze around the outside of 2, and he does. But my goodness, he is fairly lucky to have managed to stay ahead there, but he's lost so much time. I'm surprised he stayed out for so long. Like you said, maybe waiting for a safety car. But that's a gamble, and that gamble has not paid off here for him.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We could see him make a bit of a surge now. He's got rid of that broken front wing. There's a chance he could get about 6 seconds to Cello. I don't think he will, though. He should be able to get his teammate, though.
We'll see what happens to him. That not being in that DRS race is leaving him to be a little bit of a sitting duck, and I don't see him getting much higher than he is right now, with the exception of whether a safety car comes in, where those two medium runners are, you know, T-Mac and combined. They yet to come into the pit lane, obviously starting on that medium combat tire. We'll see what happens between the pair of them. Speaking of them, they're side by side through turns 1 and 2. And it's T-Mac looking to try and take Combine YouTuber, but Combine holds him off for P1.
It's been a good battle so far. Going at each other, but they've kept it nice, hard and fair.
Sid, he's looking at the other Ferrari. Not going to find it down into turn 1, though. Oh, it's T-Mac. Well, I don't know what happened between the two of them, but he's off, coming out of the Rocher chicane. And he's just inside DRS, but not for long. He has to push now, and I think Combine knows this. C-Mac actually has a huge advantage in terms of ERS, and is using that alongside with the DRS to pull himself back into contention with that Ferrari. You can see Ben the Bear. He's not too far from this either, and, well, as a result, he's left his teammate a little bit of the dust. It seems Mercedes teamwork ends here. Ben going for the win now. And really pushing for it. Look at the time he's gaining to T-Mac right now. He's absolutely flying in comparison to that Haas. And, well, maybe we shouldn't be too surprised at all, considering the tyre differential and the fact that Ben is absolutely dominating this championship. But here goes T-Mac. He's looking for it on the inside of the Ferrari. Where does Ben land in all of this? He's just behind right now in P3. T-Mac's ahead going into turn 1. Where is Ben going to be when they get down to the Rocher chicane? He is right on the rear of them now. His ERS utilization through the Curva Grande. He's up the inside of the Ferrari. He takes combined YouTuber for P2. And now he slots between the middle of them. And he takes P1 away from the house as well. Ben the Bear leads the race once more on lap 14. His teammate, Captain of Gold, still behind the traffic. Sid, he's just been overtaken by Mikau. Mikau looking to get back into the point score positions. But Sid is using a big burn of energy to try and push himself past in through the Curva Grande. And Mikau, he might drop 2 places here. Big Al sort of boxed in on the outside, down into the Rocher chicane. Mikau picks up a 3-second time penalty. Sid was on the outside there. He had to give him space, and he goes off track as a result. But what action we're seeing here at the halfway point in this Italian Grand Prix. Captain now, he'll be looking to sort of replicate what Ben the Bear did just 1 lap ago. It'll be slightly different though, because he's going to combine straight as they come out of Parabolica, taking him for P3. Now, there's actually a little bit of a gap between him and T-Mac, and that's not good news for combined YouTuber at all. We'll see how combined Captain could go about dispatching that Haas. Pushing now, overtake in utilization. Look at the speed that he has got compared to the American team. And there he goes. Captain of Gold straight past T-Mac there for 2nd place. And once more we have a Mercedes 1-2. We had it in qualifying. We had it at the start of this race. We now have it in the midpoint after the pit window is sort of starting to settle. Remco Van Putten, he's done very well to charge and catch his teammate. Rez under real pressure right now from the Dutchman. Emzo as well, not too far behind.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see how these Red Bulls work with each other. Obviously, Peter and Remco never had a working relationship together, but this looks like it'll be pretty easy for Remco, and it is. Rez just lets him by.
Yeah, Remco never has really displayed too much teamwork in that Red Bull. A bit of a weave coming out of the Scari. Does that open him up to his teammate? It doesn't. Mistakes like that are costly now. Well, maybe it is. Rez has a little look at the inside as they come down towards Parabolica. It's not going to be the case, though. Slots back into P7, but yeah, Remco, he never did sort of look to work with his teammate. Like you said, Peter, my mind always goes to Bahrain. Really provided a lot of action here in APAC, and well, they didn't work together there at all, and they cost themselves what could have been a 3 and 4. Now, Rezda coming up the inside into turn 1. Not going to find it there through the Retafilio chicane, and it's not to be. He stays in P6. Also, it's worth pointing out, combined YouTuber pitted very, very early onto those softs. He's looking for an undercut on T-Mac. I don't know if that was the call, though. 11 laps on softs. We saw Remco do that, and it was a real push. Now Emzo.
Yeah,
Not going to find the move there on Rez. Got very close, though, and he's pushing for DRS now. ERS utilization. But look at the speed Rez has out of that corner. He is not going to let the McLaren by at all. And down into Ascari they come. The Red Bull still very firmly in P6.
Emzo, although he's within DRS range, he's not looking entirely threatening to Rez. Also, other than the fact that he's got only 20% ERS. He doesn't have great exits out of Parabolica, but nothing DRS can't fix. He is close enough to make a move though now. See how this goes.
Well, there's T-Mac into the pit lane responding to combined, but well, I think he's just too far back he is. The McLaren not able to make a move on the Red Bull. Rez a little bit deep though, and well, that compromised him, but it also compromised Emzo, who got so close through turn 2 that it gave him a poor exit out of the Retavilo chicane. Through the Curva Grande they come. Has he got the pace? I don't think he has. Like I say, that compromised exit really hurt him there. T-Mac, he comes out just 6/10 behind combined YouTuber on 1 lap fresher softs. It says they're the same, but that is not the case.
Look at the position they're in, and if you look ahead, only 3 seconds off the cars in front. If they're able to find some good pace on these tyres, and maybe the cars in front start battling, they could steal a couple of points here.
They're definitely on the cards for them. Emzo gets very close to Rez. Doesn't find a way through, though. Also, we haven't talked about them for a little while now. The two Mercedes, the gap is 4 seconds. Ben the Bear has well and truly left Captain a gold in his rearview mirror. But Captain, I don't think he'll be too mindful of that. He's 10 seconds clear of the car behind, so I think now it's just a case of bringing it home for those two cars.
Yeah, exactly. And if you look at this Emzo and Rez battle, Emzo's got a good run here. He could look down the inside. Rez doesn't look to defend. Emzo will take the inside and steams past Rez at the moment, and Rez will not fight that. He has no straight line speed compared to Emzo with that DRS. And meanwhile, while all this is happening, Remco up ahead is catching Emzo's teammate, Cello. Not too fast, but he could be catching him by the end of this race and potentially making a move.
Well, we've still got a fair few laps to go here in Monza. And like you say, we've got time to see gaps get close. Sandeezy as well. The battling between the two cars ahead of him has brought him back into contention for some strong points here. And he could finish this race in a nice position. He does have a penalty to his name. I think it's a good time to have a quick look at that penalty situation. Sandeezy's got 9. Sid's got 6. And Trent's got 9. Everyone else on a 3 seconds at the moment. But not ideal where... Oh, well, Remco Van Putten, he picked up 3 seconds as well. Penalties really starting to play a role in right now. The top 3, the podium point finishing positions, they have not got penalties. Still plenty of time to pick 1 or 2 up, but as it stands, they're keeping their noses clean. Let's see what the run down into turn 1 is like for this battle that's going on for P5 on track. Emzo swings to the right. Red's going to follow him for slipstream. Sandeezy's got a great run into turn 1. Here he goes up the inside on the Red Bull. And that's much more where you want it. But can he get us around the outside of turn 2? He's going to look for the exit. He gets a little bit squirrely. And that's not going to be the move for him. And that's given Emzo a bit of breathing space behind as well. And that McLaren up in P5. But that was close between the two of them. T-Mac right now. His tyres 1 lap fresh to the combined YouTuber. He went for the overcut, and this might work out for him. Trin's out. Trin has crashed through Ascari. Does that cause any sort of safety car, VSC, anything of the sort? There he is. Right now, we're all right. But it doesn't look like we're going to get it.
T-Max having a purple patch here. He's about to overtake Alt, and this is for final point position as well. And potentially more as well with Sid's 6-second time penalty.
Very nicely done for T-Mac. Yeah, those time penalties ahead of him. You know, you got to remember, Sandeezy's on 9. So we could see T-Mac here really soar into the points if he plays his cards right. So plenty of, you know, plenty left in the tank for him. Trin leaves the session after that retirement. Not a good day at the office for Alfa Romeo whatsoever. As we're into lap 20 now, the final stages of the race, 20 of 27. If you're just tuning in, this is the MRL APAC Division here for the first time on YouTube being streamed. So it'd be greatly appreciated if you hit that like button. Rez, there's a yellow flag. He's sideways. He just gets out of the way of Mikau. But the Red Bull driver, well, that's not going well. He's got ERS deployed getting back onto circuit. He's got a huge portion of that right front wing missing. And I think he will be disappointed with how that one's ended up for him.
Yeah, massively disappointing considering he's in a great position to score some very good points. Oh, that's so unfortunate. He's having a good...
There's just nothing doing for him. And now everything really just calming down. Simdogger maybe? Yes! What an exit he's got. He's on the hard tyres. I didn't even notice this. He's been really quiet in this race, and probably as a result of those hard tyres, but he gets past Rez. Rez, that front wing there, damaging his lap time as well as this car.
Yeah, Simdogger not at his true pace. Hasn't really put a lot of time into practice and whatnot. I'm used to seeing him around the same pace as, let's say, just Trin, when Trin is actually fighting within the pack. But those two Alphas are the only two cars to have retired from the race, so like you said before, bad day at the office for them. Yeah,
for everyone else now, I think it's just a case of most people They realize penalty situation is going to harm them at the end of this one, and they're just sort of taking what they can get now. It's really quieting down. As I was saying before, Rez got that big slide.
Yeah, look at Remco and Cello now. They could have a bit of a tussle here.
Remco does have what I believe is 3 seconds of penalties. It is, so there's an opportunity for him to pick up a podium here if he's got the pace. He's caught Cello by quite a substantial amount, but catching is a little bit easier than it is to run away with it, as we get a lovely helicopter cam shot coming down into Parabolica between these two. Right now, Remco will have DRS down into turn 1. Cello, though, a much better exit, it would appear, out of Parabolica. I think that might just defend him into turn 1, although Remco's got a lot of speed. I think he thought about it, but I don't think he's going to go for it, and he doesn't.
If he gets a good run here, though, he could have a great chance into Della Roggia.
Sid just got past Mikau as well. We'll hop on board, though, for the battle for P3. And like you said, he's got it. He's got a great run. He's side by side. He's alongside that McLaren. Into the corner they go. And ahead is the Red Bull driver. Cello, you needed that to be clean, and it was. So now he just needs to hug Remco's lap by within 3 seconds. He needs to cross that line 3 seconds behind the Dutchman.
Remco's on a charge, though. Got some good pace on him. They have the same amount of ERS as well. Though Cello is aided by that DRS.
And he needs to just hold on to it. You saw him not really put too much of a fight up but down into the Rochier chicane. And that is exactly what he needs to do. He doesn't need to fight Remco. He just needs to hold on.
T-Mac has a time penalty. I was about to say he caught up to Mikau. He's within that DRS range, but he has that time penalty. It's so heartbreaking to see because he could have massive points here as well. A good haul of points, potentially 8 points, considering Sandeezy. Maybe
Ben's
even
had
more
a problem.
as well. Ben has had a problem. What's happened?
I don't know what's happened there, coming through the Curva Grande, but it looked like he was rejoining the track after some sort of wobble. No damage, but Captain of Gold now leading this race. We have only ever seen 2 people. Is Ben giving him the win here? It doesn't look like he's driving in a straight line.
I don't know what's happening.
It looks like he's deliberately scrubbing time off of his lap.
Oh, he's gained it back already. 2 tenths. Oh, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see how this turns out.
But we have never seen anyone win a race here in APAC Division this season, with the exception of Ben the Bear and Mikau. Are the only 2. We've had 14 races and we've had 2 race winners. Captain of Gold now leading. Ben does have double his ERS, pretty much a full tank. So he's got the opportunity to overtake again. He's not really under any threat, and I think he's more than capable of doing so, and he's pushing now. So it might have been a mistake for him, because well, here he goes. Well, there's nothing that Captain of Gold can do to defend against that one. But what has happened there? That was so bizarre.
Pushing too hard. I feel like he might have been pushing too hard out of a corner or something. Does have a lot of ERS. Oh, I don't know. He had to have been pushing too hard, trying to go for a glory lap or something like that, just to get max points for the team. Because that is a great result for Mercedes either way. Not sure how much 1 point matters, but
I think fastest lap, maybe. It has to be, surely.
They have their head screwed on right somewhere, so he understands the risks. Understands his teammate's a good guy. Oh.
Sandeezy, he just picks up 5 seconds for exceeding track limits, just cutting the first corner of the Rochier chicane. He just got past Emzo, though. Mikau, he's been passed by T-Mac, and like you said, that penalty might come to haunt T-Mac, but still on for a good finish. Ben the Bear! I don't think it's going to cost him.
Oh my goodness.
Well, Rez is out. He's in the pit lane.
Ben, here's the thing. Ben the Bear has got great pace at the moment. He's already pulled out time to Captain of Gold. That's 2 seconds, but we'll see if he will be able to pull out that gap.
Yeah, and someone who has pulled out that gap, Remco Van Putten, 1.2 seconds to Cello. No DRS. I don't think we're going to see the Red Bull driver find 1.8 in the case of 3 laps. but it's
Check
possible.
out T-Mac though. Yeah, check out T-Mac.
Well, the soft tires, what a run they're going to give him here out of Parabolica. And look at the speed, Seb. He's not even using ERS. He doesn't need it. He's just got the straight line speed offered by that corner exit to give him 7th place. Sandisi, he's got a lot of penalties. And now he's fighting with him. So this is good news for the Haas. There's the Red Bull of Rez retired in the pit lane. His car came back out to retire off the track.
What a drivers has been from T-Mac. Very contrasting second stints for the Ferrari driver Combined YouTube and the Haas driver T-Mac. Very contrasting. Combined has not made any use of those soft tires, whereas T-Mac has really lit them up and really found a groove with them. Look where it is. He's on for P6 at the moment.
Ben still hasn't put the gap between him and his teammate. He is extending it quite substantially, but he hasn't put the gap there yet. 2 laps to go. And if he makes another mistake, if it was a mistake, I think he's got ERS advantage. Combined YouTube is out. He's crashed with his teammate. What has happened?
Oh no.
What has happened there? The 2 Ferraris have come together on the Ascari chicane.
I am baffled. I'm going to see what's happened to... I'm confused as ever.
Ben's lucky because if that was VSC,
oh yeah,
he'd have lost his race.
Well, he's got the gap out to 2.6, so he's done what he's needed to do this lap to ensure that he has a chance at making sure he can gain another 4/10 or lose another 4/10 for Captain Goal. He looks like he's about to get that. Yeah, he looks like he has. I think Al's lost it somewhere.
Oh, Sandisi! Emzo got through on the Rocher chicane and Sandisi lost it on the exit, and this is great news for T-Mac because he can slingshot now. He can push. What is Emzo's penalties? It's only 3 seconds. I thought it might have been 6, but...
Look at Simdogger. He's fanned himself into the points. Very quiet today, tonight, this afternoon, this morning, but he somehow found his way into the points just from being clean, so...
Cello as well. He's nearly off the podium. He is 4/10 off as they come on to the final lap. Ben is 1.5 tenths on for the win. Captain, can he find it? Ben is pushing very, very hard to just make sure he could get that win.
T-Max with a great run on Sandisi.
Well, he didn't need to do it on track, but he does do it on track. And Mikau as well. Him and Sid, they've been going at it tooth and nail all evening long. And Sid's ahead now. What's the penalties between these two? Sid 9 seconds, so not really a lot of hope for the Renault driver. Sandisi dropping back quite substantially. He's going to drop 2. He might even drop... Yeah, he's going to drop all the way down to 9th, I think. Maybe even 10th if he has more bad luck and more problem. Cello, he's still in it for P3. Captain's... I think the hopes of the win is off now for him. Cello is really pushing. He's empty in ERS. Absolutely 0. Now back up as he comes through a Sky chicane. Not very quick through there, though. He's lost it. He has lost the gap that he needs to Remco Van Putten. It's about a 10th. It's going to be close. Ben the Bear wins just a half a second ahead of his teammate. Remco Van Putten will cross 3rd. But can Cello get the exit he needs to? He's pushing. He is really burning that ERS. I don't think he's going to get it, though. And he doesn't. Remco Van Putten just secures that 3rd place by 2/10 of a second. Emzo makes it a 4-5 for McLaren.
Yeah, what an excellent drive by Remco. To be able to pull that out after having front wing damage from lap 1.
And that late pit stop as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Really excellent drive for him. And for the Mercedes squad as well. Yeah, there's a lot of strong drives here. The McLaren squad did well today. May not have ended how they would have liked. They probably would have preferred a 3-5, but a 4-5. What a points finish for them, especially considering, you know, where they are in the standings. Just push for them. The McLaren doing very well in the combined as well. That strong sort of haul of points. Very, very good news. Double points finished for the racing points as well. It may only be 9th and 10th, but points are everything.
Starts doing burnout across the line in honor of Alberto Ascari.
T-Mac driver of the day. Well deserved for him. What a strategy. And the medium and the softy made that work very well. Fingers crossed we'll get some interviews with a couple of drivers. We know the two Mercedes drivers are always up for a good interview. There it is. Ben the Bear taking what I believe is his 12th win of the season. For a second there, it looked like Captain of Gold might have made it 3 different race winners. But it's not to be. Ben the Bear securing the win once more and celebrating on the podium. Let's have a look at the finishing results. Well, qualifying was a 1-2 for Mercedes. They exchanged that for a 1-2 in the race. Ben the Bear wins just half a second ahead of his teammate, and I assume he actually didn't get fastest lap. Rez got it by a 10th. So Ben the Bear fails to pick up that point. It gets taken away out of the top 10. So Captain Gold P2, Remco Van Putten from 3rd to 3rd. What a drive from him. Cello in the McLaren 4th place. Enzo, his fellow countryman and teammate, in 5th. A great drive from both of them from 11th and 10th on the grid to 4th and 5th. 15th to 6th for T-Mac. What a drive from the Haas driver. Mikau, after a problem-filled race, manages to gain 1 place from 8th to 7th. Sid, he secures 8th place, dropping from 6th on the grid. Sandeezy, pretty disastrous race for the Racing Point. Manages to claw back 2 points, but 17 seconds of penalties see him relegated to 9th place. He started 4th. Sim Dogger, his teammate, but he is a reserve driver in 10th place. Then we have Stars just outside the points in his return in 11th. Big Al reserving. He finishes in 12th. Combined YouTuber. He's still been qualified 3 laps behind, but he crashed with his teammate there out of Ascari in the last few laps. Rez, he failed to finish the race in 14th. Trin and Matt, the other 2 drivers who started this race but failed to finish it. My oh my, Seb, what a race we have just witnessed there. That was truly something.
Indeed. It was a good race. It threw some spanners in the works for some drivers, and then we saw absolutely brilliant drives from others. Great teamwork by Mercedes as usual. Something we never hear that often, but it's nice to see some good teamwork now and then, and a great drive from T-Mac and Remco to pull out some very good points and solid work. The best they could probably do from their positions.
Yeah, well, I think it's time to do a couple of interviews here ahead of the outro. Obviously, we won't be able to raid anyone being on YouTube this week, but we've only got 2 people to interview, but what a drive it's been for both of them. The first of the 2, Captain of Gold. Congratulations once again. Coming a very, very regular appearance here in the commentary booth. P2 in qualifying, P2 in the race. How was that one for you?
It was pretty smooth sailing. I mean, me and Ben, as soon as I think Remco got wing damage or something, and he was doing us favors of keeping all the other drivers behind, so me and Ben just set the goal of getting the 1-2 from the start, and I mean, we did it, so we did it in a good fashion, so pretty happy with that.
Well, it was absolutely clinical. Like you said, Remco Van Putten and that damage, held back a lot of the grid, and DRS here is so important. But you and Ben, the teamwork pushed on. The pit strategy worked out perfectly. You could keep battling. Then you came up to the back markers, and Ben just sort of left. He, started really pushing. What was going, on at that point in the race between the 2 of you when Ben started to just sort of leave? Was that always the plan?
We kind of had a plan, we kind of didn't. I mean, obviously, once we got on the DRS of each other, we just kept on, well, once I got on the DRS of him, we just kept on going back and forth, keeping the DRS margin. And then, once we get to the back markers, he kind of sets off. I mean, he's free to do so, so that's all cool. I mean, he wanted to try get the fastest lap as well, so unfortunately, he just missed that by a 10th, but other than that, once we got past the back markers, it was pretty smooth sailing again.
Yeah, one in the last few laps there, it looked like after Ben picked up that penalty, he dropped back. I'm assuming for DRS for you, but he picked up a penalty, and for a couple of laps, it looked like you might have been on for the race win. Did you think in the back of your mind, were you going to try and secure the race win? Because obviously for you, that would have been a huge haul of points in, you know, maybe chasing down Mikko and extending your lead to Remco Van Putten for P3 in the standings right now. Was there ever a moment in your mind where you thought, you know, I could take this one from him?
Kind of. I mean, the things. I mean, on my side, just had no AEST to fight it. I kind of burnt it when I didn't really need to, and then yeah, we kind of just figured we'd solidify what we had. I mean, race win's always a bonus, but I mean, finishing second best is always pretty good as well. So I mean, obviously, keep on pushing. I've set myself a goal to get at least one race win this season, so I'm not counting myself out just yet.
Well, it certainly looks like you got the pace. Singapore next week, a very different, you know, circuit to the Temple of Speed, street circuit. How are you looking towards that?
Should be okay. I remember I've broken a wheel over Singapore, so hopefully that doesn't repeat again. So, but other than that, I really enjoy Singapore. I mean, if I can get the setup right, I think I'll be up there again.
Well, a huge congratulations again, Captain, and you really had the pace today. So I'm sure getting that race win at some point during the season is definitely a possibility. And well, I'm sure you'll be here in the commentary booth once more, whether it's for a race win or another podium. But congratulations. Then, of course, the other Mercedes driver, I'll let Seb take this one away. But Ben the Bear, from me to you, congratulations. What I think is your 12th race win of the season, if not 11th. I think it's 12, but congratulations, it is 12. Seb, take it away.
Congratulations, Ben. Good drive. Just what happened near the end of the race? We saw you fell behind captain and goal. We just didn't quite catch those. So we just want to know from your view what happened.
So, thank you for the congratulations. So, you know, Captain and me, we had probably really good chemistry and teamwork over the race weekend. Probably just, you know, keeping each other on toes, just saying, you know, if anything happens, we do this, we do that. We had the plans in our mind. So I think when I started to drop back, we had a conversation. Should I risk going for the fastest lap? So we both agreed. So I slowed down, I think, duration of 3 laps to save up some ERS and then just go for it. So that's probably that explains probably the gap that dropped when I was behind captain.
Some good teamwork by yourself and captain throughout the race as well. You guys maintained that DRS train going along. You were able to pull captain to gold away from that other pack. Just I saw you guys were using that little ERS as possible. Was that the plan all along? Because I know you guys work together very well, and you talk about this beforehand as well.
Yeah, it was just a matter of, you know, saving ERS if just in case anything happens to one of us, just for example, probably a spin or a late safety car where one of us has to push and then we can probably just have that extra tense or something just in case. So that was just going through floating in our minds throughout the whole race.
Yeah, and I know you're talking about that late safety car as well. There were a couple of scares at the end and a couple of DNS. Was that playing in your mind at all, especially with that 3-second time penalty, or were you confident enough that if one did come out, you were able to pull a 3-second gap? No worries.
It's scary though, because you know Monza is a track where people can just keep towing you if you're not able to break their DRS window. So I was a bit worried. At the same time, I felt I had the pace. So it was a 50-50 in my side.
Just a final note, your closest rival, Mikhail, had a pretty poor race for his standards today and another win for yourself. Would you say that the championship it's not over yet, the fat lady hasn't sung, but you're very close to clinching it? Would you say that?
I wouldn't say that. You know, you never expect. Just look at the previous years. You know, they won by fine margins from probably the back of the championship. So I'm not taking everything for granted.
Well, thanks and congratulations once again for another win, Ben.
Thank you so much.
Well, that just about wraps it all up then for this week's APAC race. And, well, that was a truly brilliant and very entertaining race to watch. Thank you all very much for watching along here on YouTube for the first time. I think this will probably be the standard for APAC from now on. F2 will be here tonight, 8 p.m. GMT, 9 p.m. CET, and 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with myself and Alex Biddo for that one. Obviously, we can't raid anyone here on YouTube, but we will be hitting you with the outro as well. Before the final remarks, Seb, anything you want to add to the end of this one?
Nothing too much. I might not be here, but next week, but Singapore should be great fun. It's a tight circuit, hard racing, and can lead to a lot of dramas.
Yeah, definitely a lot of action to be had around there. Like you say, tight circuit. It's been a while since we've been to a street circuit. They all sort of come at the start. Then you get to the Temple of Speed here. A completely different beast to the streets of Singapore. But we'll see how everyone goes around there. As always, a massive shout out to our partners, Next Level Racing. If you're looking for a sim racing rig, wheel stand, that kind of thing, they've got a load of high quality products over on their website. So be sure to check them out in the link in the description down below. But that's all from us here for this week. We'll be back next week for Singapore, as well as the action kicking off around the streets there on Tuesday with Alex Biddo and Stryfium. On Tuesday, 8 p.m. GMT, same time as all the other races, with the exception of this one. But until then, enjoy the real-life Spanish Grand Prix. If it's anything like the endurance race last night we had, then it'll be one to watch. Fingers crossed it's at least half as action-packed as that one. But until then, we'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen.
We are back. We are back with some Tier 1 action.
And that is the AlphaTauri of Adrian straight head on into the Red Bull. And the Kai Bacchini has joined the party, and he's on these medium compound tires in the Merc. Is very late braking from the Ferrari. He locks up and he blocks Zamis. And who is that? That is Jean with a fantastic exit, and he is going to get ahead of both of them here. So I believe it's crossing the line now, checkered flag. Adam and Bajar in the first two to catch it early. Vettel now rounding the final two turns of 22 and 23 here in Singapore. The racing points collect the 1-2. Battery, there goes Ben the Bear now just ahead, taking the checkered flag, coming through the Casio triangle. It's still wheel to wheel between these two. Mick out with a great traction. Oh, what a run out of the chicane, and he gets it done. How's the exit for the Ferrari? Good so far. You can see wheel to wheel coming down the straight into turn 4. It's the Ferrari leading through. Ben, wheel to wheel now with Revo, and he has so much pace in this racing point right now. It's wheel to wheel between these two. How's somebody gonna go? He's drifted off. Does the exit? What an exit out of the Williams. Does he get him? Then there's a big snap. Jake looking on the inside of 8 and 9. It's the Mercedes coming around the outside of 9. Does he get this move done on Tim? This is huge. This is absolutely massive. A drag race coming through 10 now down into 11. Here we go, and Zamis has the popcorn.
But Yuki tries to turn in, and Domi just says,
"Oh, the stars!"
Goes for a second.
What a move from the stars! That is the Renault of Van Putten up the inside of the Williams into turn 1. Freeware's gonna get Yoda. Freeware's gonna get Yoda.
Yoda wins the race!